Currently, we're muddled with trade tensions. U.S.-China relations are at their worst point when sharp power has taken over soft power. So we have to do everything we can to make sure that soft power wins over sharp power.
So explain to us why it is that arts and culture are so important when it comes to trying to keep the U.S.-China relationship intact.
There's been a lot of criticism from the Western media, and not only that, Pence's speech of October 4th at the Hudson Institute had highlighted how the Chinese are permeating through society.
Beijing is employing a whole-of-government approach to advance its influence and benefit its interests. It's employing this power in more proactive and coercive ways.
There is a slight anti-China sentiment, and for us Chinese Americans in the United States sense that anti-Chinese sentiment. And really, if you want to take a few steps further, we're very concerned that that internment which we experienced, such as the Exclusion Act, back from the 1800s to the 1950s, never happens in the United States again. And so in order to combat that, we want to make sure that we appreciate Chinese culture, Chinese art.
So works by contemporary Chinese artists and even as well as classical pieces are getting a lot more attention in the art world. Is this more of an effect of the growth and influence of the Chinese economy, or is it more just the intrinsic value of the works, or is it a bit of both?
Well, within Chinese culture, art has always been a very flourishing part of their culture, regardless of what regime it has been. And we're seeing a huge number of new artists that are coming upstream. So it's a combination of economic wealth, the scale, being able to go cross-border, and it's very important that we be able to make those exchanges so that we in New York and the United States can learn who they are and hear their message.
So tell us a little bit more about the gap in understanding that we see now between the U.S. and China and how that's playing out.
China's influence, in perhaps some seen as a negative way, is permeating in our culture, but at the same time we want to make sure that the soft power can overcome the sharp power. It's so important for us that we understand China in many angles. I think the difficulties in perception of China exists in many areas, whether it's in Made in China 2025, whether it's Belt and Road Initiative, whether it's South China Sea, whether it's in Xinjiang. You know, there's such a gap in perception. And so what I'm hoping is that through culture and arts, we can bridge that gap and say that China's motives may perhaps be misread and that we understand China's perception a little better.